Hello there, people. I hope you're doing great in these times. And I'm Michael from Make It WordPress, and I review WordPress hosting, WordPress plugins, themes, and software, and write also blog articles about it. And today we're looking in Runcloud again. I made an earlier video with some notoriously bad audio, and in the meantime, Runcloud has changed a lot. So time to make a new video and see how it has changed, see what Runcloud actually is, and see how we can use Runcloud to run WordPress. So let's go ahead. Runcloud.io is a control panel, a hosted control panel, and you can use it to install applications such as WordPress on your own server. This server could come from any cloud provider such as Google, Azure, Amazon, DigitalOcean, or Vultr. So there are a couple of features that makes Runcloud great, such that it makes managing your own server very easy. You don't need to be a system administrator, have a lot of technical knowledge. It has some built-in features to install WordPress and other applications, and furthermore, there's a lot of developer goodness in it. So I would say Runcloud is mainly aimed at professionals, developers, people hosting a lot of websites. Of course, a lot of more features I can talk about, but I can talk about it, but it works better if I just show how Runcloud works. So let's go in there. I just logged in into Runcloud, and you will arrive at the main server screen, and I didn't connect the server yet. So let's go and add our first server to Runcloud. So to do this, you need a server from any cloud provider, and I will show you how you can connect Runcloud with a Vultr, in my opinion, one of the better cloud providers out there. Runcloud, since this year, has support built in for Vultr, so that is great. And let's see how you can connect Runcloud to Vultr. So for that, we need to go to the Vultr website first and get our API key from Vultr. So let's switch to Vultr. And there we are, we're on the Vultr website. It's vultr.com. By hitting the login button. If you don't have Vultr, you can sign up using here. There is a link underneath this video in which you can get some free credits. It's also in the elaborate review that's linked in this video. So you can sign up, but I already have an account, so I will just log in. And I will hit the login button, and there we are logged in, and I will just be going to the account tab on the left. It will load the following screen, and there you are. There are a couple of settings in here. And the thing we need to get is get our API key. So here is our personal access token, and this we can use to connect Runcloud automatically to Vultr. So it's already getting a bit technical in the beginning, but I need to show you this first so you know how to set up Vultr on Runcloud in the easy way. So we need to copy the API key, and for Runcloud we also need to hit enable any IPv4. So if you don't have this button there yet, you will see this button, allow all API v4, and any of these addresses can access actually this API. It's not recommended actually, but this is what the official documentation of Runcloud also says. I'm in contact with them to gather IPs, so it will be more safe. So only the control panel will access filter. But in the meantime, we will be using this setup. So here we are going to copy the API key and now go back. I will now switch back to the Runcloud panel. And there we are, we're back in the Ringglass panel we saw before, and well, we copied our API. Sorry, we copied our API key from Vultr, and we'll now be moving to the top right. Go to the profile settings, and in there is the third-party API key. And I already added my Vultr key in here, and you can do similar by using add API key, give it any label, select the service, and copy your API key. And there we are. After you hit add API key, it's added. So let's go back to the server screen, and we will be starting or connecting our first server. So let the goodness begin. So from here we can select any of provider we like, but since we already have our Vultr key enabled, we will be using that. And this is actually what we've done. We can click on a Vultr and we can click the left build server button and build a new server within our panel using the provider API. And because you copied the API key from Vultr within Runcloud, you can now use this setup. You can also see the node in here. It's quite nice that they have these nodes with great visuals and hints. Makes things a lot easier. So I'll just click this API key and hit the build server thing, and there we are. We can choose from any data center of Vultr right from the Runcloud panel. So let's spin up the server in Frankfurt, and for the testing purposes we will just spin up the smallest instance and we'll give it a test name. It doesn't really matter what the name is, and we have to hit this tick that the server will be built to my service provider account. This price, you don't pay Runcloud for this price, but the actual server provider. So in this case, it's Vultr. And on top of that, you pay a monthly price for using Runcloud. So let's go ahead and add this server, and now it will be added. It will take a couple of minutes. So why don't you grab a cup of tea or a nice cup of coffee and come back in some time. And there we are again. Our server is installed. Amazing. So this is the server overview screen. You can already see some of the statistics such as the disk and RAM usage. And let's click on it to enter the server and go ahead. So here we are in the server overview screen of Runcloud, and the dashboard shows some of the important statistics such as memory usage, disk usage, the uptime of the server. As you can see, there were no applications and databases in it, and we didn't add any supervisors or cron jobs. Let's just briefly go through the several tabs that are placed on the left. But first we have a tab of the server health that indicates the load, the memory usage, and the disk space usage. Since this is a quite new server, you don't see that many data points. It's pretty nice to see the statistics in here. You can also do a disk cleanup, by the way. And furthermore, if the usage is going over a certain threshold, you can set it up to have notifications to your email, Slack, and Telegram, which is a great integration, I think. Furthermore, there's the tab web applications, in which we can create new web apps. We'll be doing that in a moment. The database tabs, where there's an overview of all your databases and database users. You have the tab with system users. These are the various users that can access your server. It's pretty useful if you want to separate applications by system user and have enhanced security. It's a practice common. Furthermore, there's a tab with the SSH key. There's no key defined yet, but you can add your own SSH key and connect to this server using the terminal on Mac or the PowerShell on Windows. You can add a deployment key to connect the server to Git, for example. And furthermore, you can change the PHP version you used. 5.6 is no longer supported in Runcloud, but you can, with good reasons, I think, but you can choose any PHP version from version 7. From version 7 and upwards, excuse me. There's a tab with the cron jobs in which you can add cron jobs for your server. It's great, also great for WordPress. I don't know if you know, but the cron system of WordPress is not that good. It actually counts on real people visiting your website before a cron is executed, and in there, this panel you can use to automatically set up these cron jobs in a much better way. We have the supervisor tab, which is used to control supervisor jobs on the server. I think this is a thing mainly from the Laravel world. Furthermore, you can set up notification channels for certain thresholds. There's a tab with the services, all the services running on your server. So this is also the stack actually that Runcloud is using, and you can also start or stop any of the services in here. And furthermore, there's a security tab in which we can manage the firewall rules. Like this are the default rules. So furthermore, fail to ban is also installed on your server, and this can be used to block certain IP addresses from accessing your server, making your server more safe. So it's nice that all the defaults are set up in a quite good manner, and you still have the flexibility to add your own rules and do your own thing. Basically, there's a settings tab with some more of these general settings, such as server name, and you can even transfer the server to another Runcloud account, which is great. And change the IP address if this has been updated on the external. So you can also limit the possibility to log in over root or by password, only SSH, which can enhance security. And there is a possibility to automatically update everything that's running on your server, so you don't need to do this manually. So as you can see, this is control panel, and by showing these tabs, you can see the real power of a control panel, namely make it as easy and also as visual as possible to manage and update your server. And this is what Runcloud is, and this is actually their main unique selling point they're offering. So at last you have the activity log, in which you can see things that have been happening on the server, and furthermore you can delete the server. And this is I think this screen is pretty well designed, because you need to type yes and pick 3 boxes before you can delete the server. So it's hard to delete server on accident. So let's go back and add a web application, and we'll be adding WordPress, since my blog is mainly about WordPress, and I will be testing Runcloud in a WordPress context. So in older versions they didn't have this one-click WordPress installer, and now it is there. So that's an amazing thing to see. You can just edit. We'll be using, you can use a Runcloud free domain for a temporary domain, which will give you a very ugly domain, but it works. That's great. You can set up your stack, We're using the native Nginx PHP version for this application and the user, which is the system user. And here you can set up the default WordPress settings. We'll just paste in some simple values. You can even have a canvas, which I believe is a predefined setup for WordPress, and the database you can enter it, but if you don't enter it here, it will automatically set up a database and the user for you, which is great, I think. So we can just click this and add the web application. WordPress is running on Runcloud. It is that easy to run WordPress. So I will briefly go through each of the tabs on the left you see. These are the tabs you see when you manage a web application. So I can hit back to web apps and then click on my web app, and there we are. We'll be arriving in this screen. So what we have here is a couple of the useful tabs. At first, there is the transfer stats, in which you can see how many data is served to the user of your tabs. There are a couple of tools in the tools tab. You can now clone web applications, which was not possible before Ringglass, and also change the application owner and enable HTTP authentication. So there will be a pop-up with a password on front of your website. Not everyone can access it. This is one of the really nice things of Runcloud, is that you can connect this to your custom Git repo from any location, and once you will be pushing, Git is of course a thing that's used mostly by developers, and if you're a developer you know it, but it's used to maintain their code and work together on code, and this is done using repositories, and these are often hosted, and you can you connect these repositories to this location, and it will pull the code from this repository to this application actually, so that makes developing a lot better. There's a script installer in which you can add other scripts. You can add PHP my admin to manage your databases. WordPress, obviously, there are a couple of other CMS, and Drupal and Joomla are in there as well. One of the other two well-known content management systems. So if you want to have another script in this app, it's possible. Furthermore, this is a pretty neat functionality that there's a file manager. If you just need to change a small thing, you can just change it in there using the file manager. It's actually not, a couple of these features are not included in the free subscription. There is a free subscription, but now I am at the pro level. Furthermore, you can change your domain name in here, so we can change it here to one of the own domains we own, and of course you need to register this domain somewhere at the domain registration company and point it to the IP address of the server, which we can see in our server overview screen. Furthermore, you can set up SSL, and the good thing is that you can enforce to use HTTPS by clicking enable HSTS, which is another layer of security. There's broadly compression by default, which will also enhance the performance of your applications, and we can set up an SSL in here using Let's Encrypt or one of our custom SSL certificates. So there's also a settings tab for some of the more general settings, such as changing the PHP version. You can even change the stack within the application, which I think is interesting that you can do this from here. And change the stack mode. There are some security settings for Nginx, which is the web server, and for some settings for the FPM and PHP, such as the maximum size of uploads, memory limits, execution time, and so forth. Another really nice feature is that you can access the logs in here. There are not so many logs in here yet, but you can access any logs from the panel, for which you usually have to log in into your server. You can access them from here and see if everything is going well or there's something wrong. There's also an activity log, which is the next tab. And this activity log, it doesn't load that fast. And there it is. Shows everything that occurred on the Runcloud panel itself. So this is a pretty neat way to audit any activity happening in there. And well, since the last year, a lot of things have changed, and they have now a dedicated WordPress section within the panel, in which you can change a couple of basic WordPress settings. Well, this is the address of the website, which is obviously geared to our domain. You can set up the staging environment in just one click. And you can set it up using it any domain you like. You can also use a Runcloud free domain. So let's just set it up. You can put a pop-up password in front of it. We don't do it. And deploy the staging. And there we are. The staging is deployed. It goes that fast. And in there is the sync mechanism in which you can sync the staging and production live, and you can either go from staging to production or the other way around. Also select which database tables you want to migrate. I think this is a great tool which can help to develop websites. Just a small explanation. Usually staging environments are used to develop a website if you're a developer, and then once the changes are done, you sync this with the live or the production environment. So you can do tests, you can put anything on the staging environment. If anything goes wrong, it's no problem because it's not the live side. And once everything is tested, you can put it on production. And the last but not the least is the Runcloud hub. And there we are. This is a new addition which setups caching for WordPress and can enhance the performance of your applications. So I set it up and did some load testing, and I didn't find that much performance increase actually as the test I did before, but I think it's a good feature that they have this from inside the panel. So we will just add this to our existing WordPress installation. It's pretty easy. You just install it and it will be set up in here. And there we are. We can purge our caches. Also, they set up object caching by default, which is amazing. There are some keys for it to enable the application. It's actually a WordPress plugin for Runcloud, and you can also log in using the magic link login. So we'll be doing that now. Let's click this. Oh, it's not possible in our current subscription. Apparently, we need the business subscription for it at $45 a month. So we'll just log in a normal way. So let's go there. So there we are. This is a Runcloud hosted WordPress website on Vultr, a well-known cloud provider. And as you can see, this is just the basic WordPress installation. And let's just have a brief view on the backend. Howdy, we are here in the backend of our WordPress hosted on Runcloud, and as you can see, it's just the basic WordPress. You can add plugins, add support, Pretty great. One thing which is Ringglass specific is the Ringglass hub. So we just go there. And the good thing is that we can now see statistics from inside our WordPress installation. Also do some things such as clearing the cache, see memory usage, disk space usage, some traffic stats. You can change the caching settings for the run cache, which is the page caching thing, and the Redis object cache, and there are a couple of default settings. So basically, this is the how you set up WordPress on Runcloud. It's pretty performant, as you can see. We can click easily through this installation, and there are a couple of things I want to show you within the Runcloud panel itself. So let's go back, and we're back in the panel. We're just going to look into a couple of other features. The atomic deployment and themes features are both for the business plan, but with atomic deployment, you can deploy from your GitHub without any downtime. And the themes functionality can be used to add themes and users to your Runcloud, which can only access certain servers. So it's great if you cooperate, if you're running an agency, and so forth. And at last, you have the backup tab, which is great. By default, Runcloud gives you 30 gigs of free backup space, and you can configure backups from this screen. So let's just go and see if there are any instances yet. So as you can see, there are no instances. All right, let's just create a new backup instance. We can select from here the web application we want to backup. We can set up how often we want to backup this, even up to 30 minutes, how long we should keep the files, and also what kind of files. We can connect this to our notification channels and do a full backup, for example, or only the things you want to do. And there we are, we can create it. Now, one important thing to know is that this will only back up your files, and it will cost you $3 a day. So for one application, you need to set up a file backup and a database backup, and it will roughly cost you $2 a month. So we can of course also create a backup for database the same way as we did for the web application. So, but for now, I'll just disable this backup again. And at last, you can see you can buy more storage space for your backups, and there are also some archives of any archived backups. So this is the backup functionality. I think it's great that it's building right from the panel, but it adds some extra costs to the subscription plan, actually starting as low as $3 per instance per day. So let's go to the right top screen where there are a couple of other buttons. There's a help center with a lot of documentation. They have a quite elaborate knowledge base on managing your server, on using Runcloud. You can have email or ticket contact your support, and there's also a feature request section in which you can add what the features you would like to have or would love to have within Runcloud. Furthermore, there are some of the notifications in there which happened on the panel itself. And at last, we have our profile. You can see your current plan and sign out here. Just go through some of the more important settings. You can change your profile and company details. You can set up notifications channels in here. So we can just add Slack, for example, and use Slack webhook channel. It's great to keep up to be up to date on your servers and applications. Just using Slack, and even they have a Telegram integration. You can transfer, see if there are any requests for transfer. There's a referral program as well. There's an activity log in which you can see all the account activity. You can delete your account. Furthermore, you can set up two-factor authentications. There's API possible, so you can use Runcloud to build other applications on it. And we have been looking at the third-party API key to connect our Vultr with Runcloud. Furthermore, you can use IP whitelisting to enable Runcloud access only from certain IPs. And there are a couple of other sections which you can add more credits for backups, change your plan, add a payment method, and add SSH keys and the WordPress canvas, which is another WordPress focused feature. And actually, this is a setup that is used mainly in the business thing, and you can use this to have some basic settings for your WordPress that will be used for initiating your new WordPress thing. So you can add plugins, themes, and this is great to automate things as well. So, well, that denotes most of this walkthrough and review. It was a lot of talk, I know, but I hope it gave you a good insight into Runcloud and also how you can use Runcloud to to host WordPress on it. I hope you liked it. And if you'd like to see more of these control panels, I have a couple of other videos on my channel which talk about these control panels. There are some really good competitors to Runcloud. For example, there is Ploy, which is a Dutch company, which has a great and very user-friendly panel, which is quite similar to Runcloud. And there are also a couple of panels which are more geared towards WordPress, such as GridPane and SpinUp WP, which is also a pretty neat platform. So I found Runcloud to be pretty nice. The biggest downside, in my opinion, is that backups can become pretty pricey compared to other platforms, and the performance is not that good out of the box. So if you really want to get the best performance for your websites out there, so that your website can handle a lot of visitors, you need to do some manual improvements for that. But still, I think it's a very good platform. They have a lot of features in it. Now that they have added this WordPress section with staging, and you also can clone applications and have these canvases, it has grown a lot better. And it's still, if you use this to host a lot of websites, it will be still a lot cheaper than those managed WordPress hosting parties. So thank you again for watching this video. I wish you a marvelous day or evening, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. There's also a link to the elaborate review, which belongs to this video. You can see it in the description. So see you later.